Hello Filipino, and welcome to today's vlog. It's gonna be a pretty short vlog. I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible because I'm very tired. If you clicked on this video because it said Filipino MILFs, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm not gonna talk about the American Pie definition of MILF. I'm actually gonna talk about the Filipino MILF. Stands for the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. But from here on out, I'm just gonna start calling them the Philippine or Filipino MILF because it's just easier to say. So no connotation at all about them being, you know, the American Pie definition. And I just wanted to talk about this subject today because lately, if you haven't heard, if you've been out of the country, there's been a series of attacks where in one attack 19 Filipino soldiers were killed by these rebels. They're a terrorist group and they shouldn't be qualified to be discussed as anything other than a rebel terrorist group. They should be treated as such and should be dealt with as such. Part of the problem is that they haven't been kept in check, and as far as I'm concerned, they should have been eliminated a long time ago. But instead they've been allowed to grow. They've been coddled to and have peace talks with. But these people are terrorists. Forget their religious affiliation or anything like that. They're just a bunch of terrorists. And right now, the Philippine president is shy to commit forces to the elimination of these terrorists. Instead, he wants to seek justice and, I don't know, peace talks? Like that's gonna do any good. He hasn't done any good so far. The policy of the government should be that they do not negotiate with terrorists, but instead they try to give them aid, they try to appease them. When Filipino soldiers' blood are being spilt by terrorists, you should not negotiate peace talks with them. You should give them an ultimatum. Put down your arms and surrender or be crushed. And in fact, there are a lot more groups, separate groups in the Philippines that cause violence, and president does not hold them accountable for it, except for seeking, I don't know, court trials and justice and things like that, when they are obviously a terrorist group. To kind of put this into perspective from all those Filipinos that have grown up probably in the United States, because that's the only example I can give, it would be like Abraham Lincoln trying to get the leaders of the Confederacy to show up to court right in the middle of the Civil War. I'm not saying what's going on in the Philippines is a civil war, but people are dying all the same. And there are terrorist groups living in the country. They even occupy towns like they own it. At least back in the days of Marcos, they were out in the jungle. And a recent report says that the government gave 5 million pesos to an organization that supports and funnels money to these rebel groups in the hopes of appeasing them. If you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And you can't help but feel sorry for the families of these soldiers who sacrificed their lives because possibly the leaders and their commanders are incompetent or just don't care. Kind of makes you stop and question, when was the last time these generals and commanders ever won a battle? Have ever been in a battle to have the experience necessary to win a conflict. And another thing I noticed, why do the rebels in the Philippines carry M16s? I mean, the terrorists I see everywhere else, they're always carrying AKs. I mean, who's supplying them with these M16s? And also, how are they getting the M16 rounds, the ammunition? Maybe it's correct that these generals or leaders actually just let them have these weapons so that they can continue on with these little skirmishes. Because without any of these skirmishes, these generals wouldn't have a job. And without any of these skirmishes, there wouldn't be a distraction for the public from some other issue. Just something to think about. That's it for today's vlog. I'll talk to you guys later.